So a telepathic world, and she's been just all the time finding in her relations with us here. She's constantly communicating with people here. My former host family, I've moved now out into working with immigrants mainly, but and with other friends here. You know how email, you can put filters on, you can say this is spam. How do you kind of protect yourself and your psychic space on email? Well, we have kind of equivalents, she says, and I think so too. You have to learn how to even telepathically ask for privacy or not, and maneuver in that world so that you're not taking in everybody's thoughts, but you're able to keep your own autonomy in this great sea of telepathy. But it's been really fun. Here she is doing a YouTube video that Peter had to set up the camera for, and she had to kind of get ready for. And she's probably done more, not more, but she's done several broadcasts to my parallel world now. And no camera needed, no mic. Wear your sweats, whatever you're wearing is fine. And just open your mind. Start talking and open your mind, and people will begin who are resonating with whatever your topic is, especially if it's a very emotional topic and you're wanting to broadcast what you're saying. People start showing up, and you can kind of feel them. It's like a chat room, and you start feeling them show up, and you can almost see a little bit of their energy or their face or something. You kind of can feel how many people are out there listening to your broadcast, and sometimes it's interactive, and they ask questions and so forth. So the whole keyword search idea is really a resonation thing, and it happens on telepathic levels too. In fact, I can't really think of anything in this telepathic world anything in your world now, in terms of technology, especially internet technology, that doesn't have a corollary here that's natural and a lot easier to work with, and you don't have to buy the equipment, and you don't have to put up with advertisers. There's no advertising on these broadcasts, so it's been lovely to come to a very nature-based parallel world. It's everything I ever hoped for in the leap, and we've got now. I'd say, and I'm just working in one little area. The mountain people here are known for, well, there's a great portal here at Longs Peak on both parallels, and so it's a natural place for people to leap in and out of. But I'm working with probably 50 people who see themselves as, the human leapers who are working with the actual energetic experience of people leaving the old parallel worlds. And these people work with them to help them really fine-tune where they want to go, what kind of world they want to live in. And not everybody ends up, of course, in my world. Some of them help them find another world or another part of the world. They may end up on another continent than ours here. But they may pass through this Longs Peak portal here in Colorado, U.S.A., where we live, especially if they're coming from this land. And then we may send them on to actually a place that's a better resonation with them, or more part of their purpose. But I know about 50 people who are doing this, the psychic work of helping people with the leapers, and then the leapers, of course, are the ones that incarnate them in the new place. And it's very satisfying work. We are working very closely with the parallel world, where, of course, there are many parallel worlds that are very, close in vibration, but to say in general, the parallel world, where John Kennedy Jr., the son of a famous president here in our country, on Cathee's world, was president of the United States. In the parallel world, of course, I grew up with as Cathee. He was a journalist. He had a political journal that he started and was chief executive of. But they split off. Those two John Kennedy Jr.'s split off when they were about 29. And one of them on his new parallel world, became president of the United States. And his parallel world is falling apart just a little bit faster, I'd say, than the parallel world that Cathee is still on. HAARP is the biggest problem there. The U.S. government's array of 180 transmitting towers up in Alaska that bounce electron beams off the ionosphere and can wreak havoc. And they're in chaos. And so what we're doing with a lot of people there is splitting off a parallel self, those especially that are in high positions of government or other places of power. Many of them are splitting off a parallel self before things get so bad that it's too late. And those parallel selves are leaping to places like the world I'm on now. And they are coming together and figuring out what they can insert back in time that will change the outcome so that they don't self-destruct. So they are then in the dream state largely, on other states of consciousness. They're kind of becoming the guides to the parallel selves that are still there in John Kennedy Jr., President John Kennedy Jr.'s parallel world. So we do a lot of this kind of work where we're kind of reworking timelines on parallel worlds that are approaching a total self-destruction. We're inserting ideas back into the minds and souls of policymakers and other people, just regular people, and trying to work to influence them to make better choices. And it is their parallel selves that split off and are getting to look around at what a healthy culture looks like and what healthy technology is, and going through huge shifts in their worldview, their theology, you might say. And then they are working with their own parallel selves to influence themselves, their parallel selves. It's a really beautiful, beautiful way of working back and forth. I'm sure that there are a lot of movies and a lot of sci-fi on your world that deal with these realities. They are real. I mean, with the whole idea of time travel, the whole idea of parallel split-offs, so, this is not sci-fi. Cathee is so immersed in it. It seems much more real to her, I think, anymore than the old way of plodding along in your world. in a very linear fashion, of not multitasking. We are multitasking here on a spiritual level, put it that way. I have met 4 of my parallel selves in the flesh here. I mean, I'm still splitting off more here. I've got way too much work to do, and things to explore. It's a little, I think it's possible here because people believe in it here, and that's just kind of how they. For instance, Cathee knows that sometimes she may talk to me one day, and then she may talk to me a month later, and she may actually be talking to a different parallel self of mine than the one she was talking to before. And sometimes it's a little confusing because they seem a little different. But I think that happens even on your world. You're splitting off parallel selves there all the time too. It's just you don't believe in them probably as much. I mean, not as many people believe in them. So there's not a culture of acceptance of it. And you just think, your friend that you saw a year ago and you see him again, you say, my, you've changed. And you don't realize that maybe you're seeing now a parallel self of theirs that split off like 10 years ago. And so they've had really different experiences than the guy you knew last year. But the name's the same and the body looks kind of the same. And the world is not nearly as concrete as most people believe it to be. And you have to be able to flex a great deal. And I think actually the fact that you're even looking at leaper videos means that you are probably a pretty flexible person in your not only intellectual conceptualization of the world and how it works, but emotional flexibility and being able to handle how adventurous life really is, how flexible and multifaceted and ever-changing things are. And if you're thinking of leaping, this is a quality that you'll really need. But it's I can't tell you how much happier I am than Cathee is. I think she would agree. Yeah, I do agree. She has glimpsed how magical the world I'm living in is now. And she pouts all the time about why haven't the Libras, why was I the one that got to go and not her? But she's got some real advantages too that I kind of miss. So it's all good. But anyway, a report from the field. If you're thinking of taking the leap, I highly recommend it. So be it.